Hello, students. If you're watching this, you're about to start the Odyssey. Here's a little something you may need to know before you get started. Okay, when the people were first telling the story of the Odyssey, it wasn't written down, it was spoken out loud. So, one of the things that they would do at the beginning of an epic was call to the muses, who are the gods of like inspiration and art. And they would say, sing to me, tell me how to tell this story better. Like, give me inspiration to do that. So that's how this story is going to start too. That's how a lot of Greek epics starts. It says, sing to me of the man muse, the man of twists and turns. So he's saying, tell me about Odysseus, right? So that I can tell his story. So there's a few things you should know. One, Zeus is the king of the gods. You know that. Remember that his father is named Kronos. Kronos was the Titan who, ate all of his children until Zeus made him barf them up. They will refer to Zeus sometimes as the son of Kronos. So don't get it confused. Zeus is the son of Kronos, right? So either way they talk about him, that's what they mean. They actually do that a lot. They have nicknames for people. The term for that is an epithet. An epithet is like a descriptive, poetic term for a person, or it can also be a description of a place. So, Zeus's son of Kronos. Athena, they call the gray-eyed one, or they'll refer to this nymph Calypso as the one with the pretty braids. And what they'll do is they'll do that over and over again, right? So every time they refer to her, they'll say Calypso with the pretty braids. Um, so get used to that idea of epithets and pay attention to that. Make a note of it when you see them. Okay, so we got Zeus. Zeus is going to be here in this first chapter. Also, they start telling the story of everything that's going to happen in the Odyssey. This is another thing that they'll do at the beginning of orally told epics. They'll explain what the story is, basically, so that everybody in the audience knows what they're in for, right? Knows what the story is. Nowadays, we would have a trailer, right? And a trailer would tell you like a little bit about what the story is going to be and the kind of story you'll have. That's what the first few paragraphs are here. It's basically like, this is the story, this is the one we're telling. Remember, this is what happens in this one. And everybody in the audience goes, oh, okay, cool, I know this one. So we've got Zeus. Odysseus is already done with the battle at Troy. It's 10 years later, and he's stuck on an island. So the war at Troy goes on for 10 years, and now it's 10 years after that. So it's been 20 years since all that stuff with Paris and Helen and the Golden Apple. Okay? So now Odysseus is stuck on an island. We don't know why. All we know is that Poseidon is mad at him, right? Poseidon, the god of the sea. And if you're trying to get home by ship, the last person you want to be mad at you is the god of the sea. So Odysseus has pissed off the absolute worst person to piss off. So he's stuck somewhere on an island, and they're going to describe that a little bit. Now, all of the gods, except Poseidon, love Odysseus, right? Particularly Athena. Athena loves him because she's the goddess of wisdom, and Odysseus is like the smartest person on earth. So she's like, you're my guy, right? So now, so that's happening. One other thing, you remember the story of Agamemnon? He's the one who is the king of all of the Greek kings. He's the one who got into that argument with Achilles, and then Achilles was like, I'm not going to fight anymore. And Agamemnon was all pissed at him. Agamemnon is, he made it home after Troy and was immediately murdered. There's this whole spin off series about Agamemnon and what happened to him. What you need to know for the references here is that Agamemnon comes home and finds that his wife has been cheating on him with this guy named Agastus. And Agastus is like some younger guy who didn't go to war, he stayed home. And so Agamemnon's wife has been sleeping with this guy, and this guy comes into Agamemnon's room in the middle of the night and stabs him. Agamemnon is actually sleeping with one of the princesses of Troy that he brings home with him, Cassandra, and he's sleeping with her because he cheats on his wife, and that's not a big deal in Greek culture, but the wife cheats on the husband, and that's a huge big deal. So anyway, Agamemnon's with this princess, and Agastus stabs through Agamemnon into Cassandra and kills the both of them in their bed. So that's the background. Odysseus stuck on an island. Agamemnon's murdered. Achilles, remember, died at Troy. Everybody else has made it home. All the other heroes and all the other characters from the Trojan War, if they survived the battles, they made it home back to their families, except Odysseus. So it starts off now with the gods talking about what to do about Odysseus. What do we do now? And how do we handle it?